So I'm now recording. And today I want to cover subtotals. I tried to do that last week. Didn't work too well. I still don't know what the problem was, but I got it working now. And we will also go over formatting as tables, and then we'll go into a feature called Goal Seek, as long as we don't lose electricity with this wind. So the first thing I'm going to do is I want you to open up that database sample that I gave you last week, that really big, large database.
Oh, right, the government thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to share my screen. It's going to look.
Where did that go?
It's going to look like this. You remember that? That big database.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I'm just going to show you what it should have done last week, and then I have a smaller database that you can do it on your own. So this particular database, what I want to do when you're going to do a subtotal, the first thing you must do is if you're in an Excel table with all the Excel database features, you've got to convert it to a normal range. And I showed you how to do that last week.
Yeah, let's refresh that.
This one is in a normal range. If it wasn't in a normal range, you would have to go to your database, your data tab. Let me move this out the way. You would go to your data tab, and of course, since this is not in a database format, you're not going to see it, but you would see in tools, you would see an option that says convert to normal range. But I'll show you that later, since this one's already in a regular range. Anyway, first thing you want to do is you want to sort the very column that you want to do your subtotals on. So in this case, what I want to do, I'm going to look at the product category, and I want to know how many products are in that particular category. You know, we have a 700 row database, and we've got lots of different products, and I want to know how many products are in each category. So I'm going to sort the product table A to Z. And by the way, if you're in your data tab, you click on your data tab and you want to see how many products there really are as far as categories. Click on the filter button, turns on those little auto filters that I showed you last time. Okay. If you click on the product one, it'll show you that we have what, 6 products? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 6 products over 700 rows. And I want to know how many products of each category are there. So that's what I want to do with the subtotal. Okay. So now that I've got the column that I want to subtotal sorted, I'm going to move over to the outline group on my tab. And click subtotal. Excuse me. As I mentioned to you before, there are 3 sections to it. So the first section says at each change in, and I want it to go to the product column. So I choose product. At each change in product, in other words, when they're all sorted, when it gets to the next product, I want it to count. And I want it to count, and I'm going to put the number of the count underneath the product category where it says add subtotal to product. Okay, so at each change in product, I wanted to count the number and put the number under the product column. I'm going to click OK. Now this is what you didn't see last week. You didn't see over here to the far left. This is called the outline. This is actually a grouping. So you notice there's a 1, 2, and a 3. Because this is a very long table, you can't see where these lines are going. If you click on the number 1, it's going to give you the grand total. Okay, so there are 700 products because we have 700 lines in this particular table. Click on the number 2, it's going to just give you the subtotal of the categories. So you can see here that I have 94 Amarilla, we've got 93 Carretera, Montana 93, Paseo, we have 202, etc. This all adds up to 700. So now I know how many products I have in each category. If you click on the number 3, it gives you the full detail. Okay, so sometimes you don't want to see all the detail, you just want to see your subtotals. So the smaller the number on the outline here is the less detail. Starting with the grand total, no detail, just the grand total. Number 2 gives you just the subtotals. And number 3 gives you everything. Now, if I can scroll down and find the first minus, this minus means it's going to collapse. And the data in the Amarillo, because that was the first category. And so it's giving me just the subtotals of Amarillo. So when you look at the 2, if you want to expand one of those categories, it's going to expand it for you. So I expanded the Paseo. This is what it didn't do last time. Okay. So there's something else that you can do here. Excuse me. So I want to go through the discount band. I'm going to go back to number 3 so I can see everything. Notice the discount band has, this group has no discount, some have low, medium, high, etc. Let's say I want to sort this by discount band. Instead of the product, I want to sort just the discount band. So as I mentioned to you before, that you must sort the column that you want the subtotal on. Well, if I sort this one, I'm going to go A to Z. I have to, this removes the subtotals and sorts again. If you want to sort the subtotal, choose the cancel button, then collapse the outline. Just say, okay. Sorry, I didn't know it was going to stop my share. Let me bring it back. What happened here? Did I close it? Looks like it actually closed my, wow. It closed my database sample. Save. Okay, I don't know why it did that. It's surprising. Okay. All right, let's go back. So I was going to sort this column, A to Z. So I wanted to sort high, medium, low, but it's sorting it alphabetically. Notice that it's going high, low, and then medium. I don't want it to sort alphabetically. I want it to sort high, medium, low, and none. So I might have to do what's called a custom sort of this particular field.
You
So
know, excuse me, there's no white little arrow in the desert discount band or in any of the other boxes. So are we in the normal range? Are we in?
We're in the
something-
normal range. If you want to see the little auto filters, go back to your data
Oh,
tab
okay.
and click on the filter. Okay,
Thank you.
but I'm going to go to the multiple sort button, this one button here. And I want to sort this band, which is the discount band. And it says order A to Z. We know I don't want A to Z. I'm going to have to do a custom list. So I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to add in here where it says list entries in the order that I want them sorted. So I want it high and medium and low and none. So I'm telling it how I want it to be listed, and if this is the order that I want it sorted. So notice it says new list. I'm going to add that list. So now it says high, medium, low, and none. Click OK. And OK again, it shows you again, the order is going to be high, medium, low, and none. So now when I scroll down, I should see high, medium, low, and none. So sometimes you will have a sort that is not by default, but you can change it. Okay, because by default it's going to sort things either ascending or descending, high or low, but you don't have to. You might have something like good, bad, unacceptable, some kind of category like that you want things sorted, and you just make a new list. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my subtotal. This time, again, I want to sort the discount band, and I wanted, yeah, I say I want to count it, and I want to put the total in the discount band, under discount band. Now notice down here, it says replace current subtotals. So that means it's going to erase my previous subtotal and add another one. And so when I click on the number 2, it'll show me that I have 245 in the high area, 242 low, medium, etc. Okay. Any questions? All right. Well, let's go to let's try this. If you want to remove subtotals, you simply go to the subtotal area, and you could tell it to remove all. And I want to do a little different. I want to, again, by product, I want to know what the gross sales are of those products. So I'm going to go back to my product category, and I'm going to make sure that it is sorted A to Z. I'm going to go to the subtotal, and at each change in product, I want to count. I want to put that under the product. Do that one first. And now I'm going to go back to subtotal. And this time, I want to change to the sum of gross sales. Deselect the product. So at each change in product, I want to know how much the gross sales are of that product category. And I want that to be added to the previous one, which was the count. So see this check mark, replace current subtotals? I want you to deselect that. So it's going to add the gross sales to the existing one. So when I click OK, notice over here, now I have a fourth outline. Okay, so it's added it. The first one, of course, gives me the grand total. My gross sales needs to be widened. This tells me the grand total of products and the gross sales. If I click on number 2, it's just going to give me just the grand total of the products. If I click on number 3, it's going to give me the gross sales. Now, if I wanted to, I can actually save this worksheet in this view and make a separate worksheet so that I don't have to get confused. Does this make sense? Does this look useful?
Yeah, that was my question. Is do you have to save each one as you go, or does it automatically save it?
Well, as long as you have it in this view, but remember the original worksheet is still there. So I'm going to make a copy of this sheet. First of all, I'm going to call this, let's call this sales. I'm just going to call this sheet sales.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm going to copy this sheet. I'm going to right click, go to move or copy. I'm going to move it to the end, and don't forget to create the copy. And then click OK. So it says sales 2.
That's
Okay.
good.
So now the sales 2, which is a copy, let's rename this one original.
Okay.
Okay. Now I want to bring it back to the original format. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to remove the subtotals, go to subtotals and remove all. There's my original sheet. And if I want to clear everything else, like the sorting, I'm going to go over here where it says clear. And it's going to even clear any sort. Even though it still is sorted, but I can sort anything I want. If I want to change it to country, whatever. So this is our original 700 row database. And from this one, if we want to do other things, we can do other things. And if we want to just have a particular view, we can just choose that view.
And then you can save each one.
Yes.
A copy.
Yes,
Just rename it.
exactly. Rather than
Okay.
trying to do it all over again. That's the beauty of it. Because all you're doing is you're taking the database and you're making several different views of the data. You're not changing it at all. You can even hide columns. If I wanted to hide columns, in fact, I'm going to go to the video. Did I show you guys, did we go over the video of subtotals last week?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Okay, so I'm going to do that now. So this will be kind of a recap, and I'm going to show you, and I'm going to pull up a simpler database. Okay, so I'm going to stop my share. I am going to go to, let's see. Can you see my new desktop?
It just says Zoom.
Okay, good. All right, so now I'm going to go to Learn Free. Can everybody see my screen changing?
Mhm. Yes.
Okay. Going to Excel. And I'm going to go to lesson 21.
You passed it.
Yeah, groups and subtotals.
Okay.
Can everybody see this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you hear music in the background?
Yes.
Okay, let me turn that off. I'm sorry, I didn't realize it was interfering with me. But I guess my voice sounded okay behind that music.
You did.
All right, so I'm going to go play this little video.
Goodwill Community Foundation, creating opportunities for a better life.
Grouping is a good way to make your data more manageable. You can use it to show or hide certain parts of your
Louder.
worksheet. You can focus on the information you need. You can even add subtotals to summarize or outline your data. In this example, I have a list of t-shirt orders, but I really don't need to see the people's names and payment information right now. So with these 3 columns selected, I'm going to go to the Data tab and then click the Group command. Now we can show or hide this group using the button that's attached to this bracket here. Click the minus sign to hide or collapse the data, and the plus sign to show it again. To ungroup any data, make sure it's selected, then click the Ungroup command, and you're all set. The Subtotal command is similar to groups. You can use it to create groups automatically and also add functions like sum, count, and average to help you summarize your data. In this example, I'd like to tally up the number of orders for each t-shirt size, including small, medium, large, and extra large. Before we can add a subtotal, our data has to be sorted by the column we plan to summarize, so I've already taken care of that here. As you can see, the t-shirts have been put into a custom sort order, going from smallest to largest. All we have to do now is click the subtotal command, and a dialog box will appear. Here we'll select the column that's going to be the basis for the subtotal. In this case, that's t-shirt size. Next, we'll pick the function that we're going to be using. Now there are several common functions to choose from, like sum, average, and product. But we're going to use count, which will just count the number of cells that contain each size. If you had numerical data, you could choose sum instead, and it would actually add the values from each of those cells to create a subtotal. Finally, check the column where you want the subtotal to appear, then click OK. Now, a couple of things have happened here. Each t-shirt size is now in its own group, indicated by the brackets here on the left, and all those groups are inside a larger group. This is also called an outline in Excel. The other thing that's happened is that each group has a subtotal beneath it. So we can see the number of shirts that have been ordered in each size, and at the very bottom, we can also see a grand total. To make the worksheet easier to read, we can show or hide the groups like we did before. But when you have groups inside of groups, like we do in this example, sometimes it's easier just to view them by level. Just look for the buttons to the left of your worksheet. The highest level, which is 3 in this case, will show all of your data. Level 2 will hide the details of each size, leaving just the individual subtotals. Finally, level 1 will hide everything, so we can only see the grand total. Let's click 3 to show the entire worksheet again. Okay, there's one more thing we'd like to point out. When you use subtotals, you'll notice these extra rows have been inserted in the spreadsheet. And while they're very useful for viewing our subtotal information, if you need to change the formatting or arrangement of your spreadsheet, you might find that these subtotal rows just get in the way. In a case like this, it's best to remove subtotals from your spreadsheet before you make any other big changes. To remove subtotals from your worksheet, All you have to do is click the subtotal command, then click the button that says remove all. Grouping and subtotaling can make your worksheet less cluttered, more organized, and easier to view. So keep these features in mind the next time you need help summarizing your data.
Okay. Let me get it. Here we go. All right. So that's a quick lesson in using the subtotals. Again, kind of overviewing what I just did. I did give you a sheet that I sent to you. And if you go to that, it's called the GYH, what did I call it? It looks like, gosh, all my stuff is not where it's supposed to be. GYH table of practice. This one. Okay. So I want to, I gave you this sheet to show you that we can use this is a normal range. And sometimes when you do normal ranges, you might want to make it look better, format it better. And the easiest way of doing that is to format it as a table. And when you format it as a table, it does become an Excel table. Excuse me. So let me, once again, let's format this table a bit. So I'm going to take the header row. I'm going to select the header row. And I'm just going to give it a shading. I'm just going to shade it here with yellow. So
It hasn't come up on the screen.
oh, okay. I hate when that happens. Thank you for telling me immediately.
I hate telling you.
No, I prefer you tell me than you look at a blank screen here.
I just had Zoom Unite.
Oh, there.
I thought,
Okay. So this is kind of like the other one, but I just took the header row here and I selected it and I just gave it a color. I just chose yellow so that it has a color. And if I want, I can, if I were to print this, it wouldn't have the line, so it would look kind of weird. If I went to File, Print, it would look like this.
Right.
You might think, you know, how come it doesn't have the lines in there? So you have to actually put them in there. So I'm just going to select the rest of the data here. And I'm going to go to the font group and click on all borders. So now if I print, it'll look more like this.
Oh, okay.
okay.
Now, interesting enough, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a dotted line between column C and column D.
Right.
Now, you would think this would
Yeah.
fit neatly to one sheet of paper, but that dotted line says that it's going to put a page break so that page 1 will have the first 3 columns and page 2 will have the last 2 columns. And you'd be surprised. I know I was surprised to see that. If I click print, see how it only has the first 3 columns? And notice down here, it says 1 of 4, which means, okay, page 2,
And
page 3, page 4. Now, can you imagine the surprise you would have when you look at your screen and you think, okay, I'm just going to print this page, and you come out with 4 pages and you're thinking, what? Why is it doing that? Now, why is it going from these rows and then it's going to the rest of the rows, and then it's going back up to the top, and then it's going down again? If you go to the page setup link down here, you'll see an option to the far right that says sheet. And this tells you right here that the order that is going to do the pages is going to go down, and then it's going to go up to the top and down.
Oh.
If you told it to go over, then down, it's going to look like, let me go back to one. It's going to go over, and then down, and then over. So it's even more critical for you when you're going to print. I can't stress it enough. Preview it before you do it so that you won't get unpleasantly surprised. But again, when you're going between a print preview and going back to your normal view, you will see the page break showing up as a dotted line.
Yeah.
All right.
A question.
Yes.
All right, if you sent me this document and I looked and it printed out 4 pages, can I change the format of that and have it print out, say to landscape or whatever, even though you sent me that document?
Yes, you'd have to, I mean, once you have the document and you can open up, you can modify it any way you want. The only way that wouldn't happen is if I locked it. But I
Okay.
typically don't do that. Only time I would lock it is if I don't want it changed, or I would send it as a PDF, which means you can't change, what's on it either. But yes, as long as I don't have it protected that way, when you get it and open it and you look at that and you're saying, oh no, that's not acceptable, you can go and do what I just did. And
Because
then
I had received a proposed budget, and it came out in 8 pages. And which, because I was not at my own home, I hated to use their printer to paint 8 pages. So, okay, now I know I can change that. Thank you.
Yeah, once you change it, then save it the way you want it.
Okay, thank you.
So again, when you get it and it's an editable document, which means you can make changes you want to, and then save it the way that you want it, then it'll always print out that way. Very good question.
Very
Okay,
annoying.
yes, Excel, if the one thing I can say about Excel that I don't appreciate is how it breaks up pages, because I have to go through so much checking and making sure before I print it, where I'm so used to Word, what you see is what you get, click print, and it's done. But that's the worst thing you can say about Excel. I mean, other than that, I think it's an absolutely fantastic program.
Okay.
Gina,
Yes,
what if you, under the font, if you just change the
Okay.
font from a 20 down to 7 or 8, would that solve it?
if you want to change, okay.
Up.
Connie, I think we're hearing your conversations. If you click,
If you change the font at the top under font, if you change the size of the font,
right,
would that change where the page break is?
well, it might, but it might make it more difficult to read, but I'm going to do just what
Well,
you
it's at a
said.
20, which is pretty large.
Yeah, I'm going to change the font to, again, select your entire sheet,
Yeah.
then change it, what'd you say, 10?
So, yeah, let's try 10.
Okay. Now, if I go to File, Print, it shows it on 2 pages. Remember, it is still not putting all 5
Okay.
columns.
So you'd have to change it to landscape then. And then
Yes.
would you get it all?
Okay, so let's change it to landscape. Yes.
Okay.
I don't know why this particular column is so large, but if I go back to the document and I can resize that so it looks more normal.
Gina, this concept, did you have a question for me? I thought you called my name. I don't know.
No, I didn't have a question. It sounded like we heard you talking in the background.
I've been on mute the whole time. No, I'm not
Okay.
talking at all. So I don't
Okay,
know
so
where
it wasn't
it's coming from.
you then. That's okay.
I haven't talked all morning.
Okay, well, we hear your beautiful voice now, so. Okay, so as I pointed out, you can make changes as long as it's not a protected document. Okay, once you like the way it looks, and then you can change it to what you want. As you can see, the dotted line here is at the end of column E, shows that all 5 columns will be on one page. And then it shows that it breaks another page at row 37. Okay. Good questions. I want to go right now, I'm going to go to the tables video, talk about formatting a table. Rather than formatting it manually like I just did, you might want to do a lot more fancy formatting, better formatting, and it's easier to format as a table. So in order to do that, I'm going to go to lesson 22 and go back to the tutorial and go to lesson 22 on tables, how to use styles to format tables in Excel. Can everybody see the video?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Here we go.
now we
Goodwill
can.
Foundation, creating opportunities for a better life. Tables are a great way to add more advanced formatting to your worksheets, like banded rows, preset color schemes, and other design elements that can save you tons of time. Let's take a look. To create a table, all you have to do is select the cells you want to include. Then click the Format as Table command on the Home tab. Here you'll find several different styles to choose from. Just pick whichever one appeals to you the most. You can always choose a different table style later. If you want your table to have special formatting in the header row, make sure you leave this box checked. You can also change the selection if you need to. When you're ready, click OK. And now we have a table. Notice that every table includes filtering by default, which will let you sort your data or narrow it down depending on what you need. You can apply filtering anytime using the drop-down arrows here. If you need to fit more content into your table, not to worry. Excel gives you 2 ways to add more columns or rows in the same style as the rest of the table. Just enter your data in any adjacent column or row, and it'll be roped into the table automatically. You can also click, hold, and drag the bottom right corner to create any size table you need. Looking pretty good. I think I'm ready to try some different formatting options now. For that, you'll find everything you need on the Design tab, which appears anytime you have your table selected. Remember how I said you could change your table style once you added one to your worksheet? You can do that here using the options in the Table Styles group. And this time you get a preview. This is one of the benefits of using tables in Excel. They make it easy to change the look and feel of your worksheet, and it's a lot faster than formatting the cells yourself. Why don't we go with this one? Next to the table styles, Excel gives you a few more options for customizing your table. For example, you could add special formatting to the last column to make it stand out, or you could add a total row. These will all look slightly different depending on the table style you've chosen, so you might need to experiment to get the look you want. If you change your mind, you can always remove the table from your workbook without losing any of your data. Just be aware that this can cause issues with cell formatting, so it should only be done if you truly intend to start over. All you have to do is make sure your table is selected, then click Convert to Range on the Design tab. Next, click Yes to confirm, and the range will no longer be a table. The Design tab has disappeared, but you can still adjust the formatting manually using the options on the Home tab. You can even use the Clear command to restart your formatting from scratch. Now you know how to add and remove tables in Excel.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to go back to my worksheet. Does everybody see my worksheet?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to undo a lot of these things we did earlier, just so it's easier for you to see. So I'm going to format, right now you can tell this is just a regular range. I am going to select my table. I have 33 rows. And I'm going to go to the format as table under styles. And you can choose whatever color you want. I'm going to use this color. Now, it's important. See, it's always important that you check the range that Excel sees. And it shows A4 through E33. It's not including my header row. It's important that you include your header row. So I'm going to change that so that it includes my header row. You don't include a header row, it'll just say column 1, column 2. And so when you want to sort, it won't know how to sort it because it's calling it a column and not an actual header. And we want to make sure that it recognizes the header row because we don't want it to look at the header row labels as data. So I don't like that yellow. I'm going to change that. Bars are keep on getting in the way here. I'm going to go to my home tab and change that color. Yeah, something like that. Okay, so as it mentioned that you are going to see your header row, the auto filters, that's what I'm trying to say. So the auto filters by default, and if you go to your data tab, you will see the filter. Now I want you to notice that my filter, even though you see auto filters here, the location of my cell is not in the table, so you don't see the filter on. If you click anywhere in the table, you'll notice that it says your auto filters are on. So let's sort. Let's say I want to do a subtotal by location. So I'm going to make sure that my location, looks like it already is, but I'm going to, just to be on the safe side, I'm going to click in the location column and I'm going to go to my sort, my A to Z, make sure that it is sorted. And it is, it shows a little arrow here. And I want to do a subtotal. Now, because when I formatted my table, when I went format as table, when you format as table, you automatically create an Excel table. Remember, an Excel table is a database table. If I want to do my subtotaling, if I go to my outline, notice that the subtotal is dimmed. If you want a subtotal and you notice it's dimmed, that means you're in an Excel table and you have to convert it back to a normal range in order to do a subtotal. Okay, I'm saying that because oftentimes we forget that we're in an Excel table, because even a normal range table can look like an Excel table, but not be that. So I'm going to go back, click anywhere in my table. If you have Excel 2016 or 2019, you will see the table design on your tabs. If you have an earlier version, you might see the table design tools above on your ribbon. So when I click on that, I have now my table styles and my tools where I see convert to range. So I'm going to click on that. It's asking me to confirm. Now, this is a normal range. It's just a pretty looking normal range, but it's not an Excel table. And one of the best ways to know if you're in an Excel table, the quickest way that I like to use is I'll scroll up to the top. And if I do not see my header row up here, I know I'm in a normal range. If you're in an Excel table and you scroll up, you'll see your header row appear up here. Okay. All right, so now that I've got the normal range, now I can go back to my data tab. I can go to my outline group and click on subtotal. So I am going to want at each change in location, I want to sum, and I want to sum my amounts. I want the sum to appear in the amounts. So I'm going to click OK. And I want to look at just the subtotals. So it's going to show me by default. It shows me what the amounts are in each of those locations and the grand total. Okay. Are there any questions? Do you see you using subtotals for some of the work you might do?
Yes.
Anybody? Good. Can be very useful. All right. Why don't we take, this is a good point to take a break. Let's meet again at 11:05. Reheat your coffee, and I'm going to go on. The last thing I'm going to go into is called Goal Seek. And this is a feature that is part of what's called the what if analysis. And it's a kind of an advanced feature. This is the lowest level of that advanced feature. So we'll go into that after we take our break. Unless anybody has any questions before we break.
Nope.
Nope. Okay.